We're live.
We're live. Right, great. Well, welcome. Good evening and hello, good people. Welcome to the Inside Out Effect podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Jakes, from the Inside Out Effect with this young man to my right, Jonathan Shaw, and I'm also the owner of healingthemind.co.uk. And this is episode 53, although that is debatable.
That's not. It's episode 50.
So it's episode 50.
We have to put a retraction.
We have to make a retraction that this isn't episode 53.
It's episode 50.
It's episode 50. So
because after such a long time, Jonathan finally went to and organised the podcast and put all the thumbnails on it and actually upload a podcast to the podcast platform, and realised there was only 50 episodes once he put them all in order.
Great.
So this is our 50th. So it's like having an anniversary, like a birthday, all over again.
Awesome. That's great.
It's great.
So that's our second 50th birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy birthday, mate.
Yeah.
Great. And so...
like a woman who doesn't want to get old.
Yes, that's right. It's very, very true.
Very true.
So this is episode 50/53. And today we will be discussing the topic of the trauma of accidents and how accident trauma, if it isn't resolved, will cause and can cause ill health, sickness, and pain, and we will be going into that. Jonathan knows obviously a lot about that, as well as talking about this tonight. We will be doing the most stupidest thing we've heard this week, which I think it is a bit stupid, and I will be coming to that a little bit later. But more importantly, and why you're all here tonight watching, no doubt, is we are on Super Rollover Week. That's right. So as you well know, we're in week 3 now of Jonathan's ability to win the Healing of the Mind pen and keyring.
Blank.
Yeah, the blank keyring and pen. But as this is such a priceless commodity, and also due to the fact that we're now in super rollover, we've now added an extra one. So now we're going for the big 2. And although
I'm not ambidextrous, right? So I can't write with both hands at the same time.
Well, I mean, that's what happens. You say next week could be 3 pens and 3 keyrings, and who knows? But we will be going on to at the end of this podcast, where we'll be questioning and challenging Jonathan's general knowledge. And all he has to do, I will give him the answers, and all he has to do is pick the right one. And we'll see whether John is actually capable of doing that. He needs to get more than 6 right. And if he does, he will then win Super Rollover Sunday on the Inside Out Effect podcast.
Can you ask me questions on subjects I actually know? Like magic, therapy, ice skating, things like that.
Ice skating. I might 10 questions on ice skating?
Yeah, 10 questions on ice skating.
What's a double Selco?
Exactly. What's a double Selco? What's a cherry?
Well, I don't want to go there.
What's a 3-turn? What's a mohawk?
Well, it's something that's going to hit you in the back of the head.
No.
Oh, that's a tomahawk.
That's a tomahawk.
Yeah, right.
You're confusing it.
No, I do have to point out that we have had to ask everybody to leave the building due to the fact that we don't want any cheating. We don't want anybody in the audience coughing to give you any answers. We've had to evacuate the building.
Yeah, I would never cheat. I'm not going to cheat in a million years. I'm not a Democrat, am I?
No, I'm not a Democrat. No, you're not a Democrat.
I would never cheat.
Cheat at all costs?
No, I wouldn't cheat at all costs.
A little bit of vote fiddling?
No, I wouldn't do that. No, I don't have any Dominion machines. I wouldn't do that.
Or Smartmatic.
Smartmatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Smartmatic sounds like a really weird washing machine. It doesn't sound like
it does. It rinses votes.
It rinses votes. That's what it does. Yeah,
that's what it does. That's what it's called, Smartmatic. We put one vote in, and it comes out completely different.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and one vote in Trump comes out 10 for Biden.
Yeah, well, they've been doing that all over the world, in Germany, Venezuela, the UK, all of that.
That explains how Khan got in, doesn't it?
It does explain how Khan's got in. But anyway, so we will be doing that. Later on after the show.
I'll be looking forward to that, as I'm sure you will too.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it.
Quiz.
Even though
I feel like I'm back in school.
Yeah.
I didn't like school either.
Great. But anyway, before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, before we get involved into today's topic of how accident trauma, if not resolved, can cause ill health, sickness and pain and illness, we need to introduce the superstar himself. I'd like to introduce my co-host, the creator of the DTO system, obviously the co-founder of the Inside Out Effect with myself, the author of the book Decoding Pain, the Emotional Blueprint to Healing Chronic Pain, as well as the DTO handbook. I have my good friend, my old mucker, me blood, me brethren, me bruv, you know what I'm saying, bruv, yeah? I have the amazing and awesome Jonathan Shaw joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us in the studio.
In the studio.
It's in the awesome studio.
In
our awesome studio.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm really pleased to have you here on this wonderful Sunday night.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Is it?
It's good to be over there, but it's good to be here as well.
It's good to be here. Yeah. It's great. How you been?
I've been alright. Been okay. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I was in repair last week.
Yeah.
So I was repairing from clearing some things, and that felt really good getting out of my system. So I had a little bit of a rest.
Yep.
I allowed my body to heal, which most people don't do when they're unwell, when they're feeling symptoms of being unwell. They try and fight that, but the problem with that is if you fight that, then it just reoccurs in your body multiple times over. So you don't really want to do that. You want to allow the symptoms to be there and heal it at the same time rather than fighting with it, which a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I used to have to fight with it. When I did shows, I used to have to go to work here. I'm like, I don't want to do this, but now I don't do shows anymore. I can just.
It was a good job then. We haven't got any shows this week.
Yeah, no, that's right. No.
So other than that, have you been? So I know you've been resting.
Yeah.
But after that, so you haven't really been super busy.
Well, no, I haven't been super busy this week. No, I've been a little bit busy. I took a rest, but I did while I was unwell. I did treat my first official COVID patient.
Good.
And when I say official COVID patient, she was diagnosed with COVID.
Yeah.
She's a nurse, and she called me up. She'd been in bed for 4 days. All the traditional symptoms of COVID.
Yeah.
And I treated her before, so she called me. Bear in mind, she called me. I said, I called her.
Yeah.
And she'd run her work, and they said, you got to take a test, and she tested positive for COVID. So I treated her that day, and she was 50% better. I treated her 2 days later. She was another 50% better, and she's been out of bed, and she's been fine, and all that's left was a little bit of tiredness.
Yeah.
So that was my official, because she was diagnosed with COVID, my official COVID experience working with that particular non-virus, if you like, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, I've done 2 people.
You
took
have
me an hour and a half to get rid of all their symptoms.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it didn't take long. I think I did an hour with her and then another 40 minutes with her after that. But it was such a little. It was actually a couple of conflicts running in her system.
Yes.
So she actually had a couple of conflicts, and they were creating all the different symptoms. In the body. And once we cleared those conflicts out, and then she resolved one of the conflicts in the environment. And then the problem got healed up.
Yeah.
So it was a very simple thing to do.
Well, I've got some interesting information about that, which I'm going to divulge in a little while.
Yes, you've got some very interesting information about that.
And obviously, because I do spend a lot of time not watching the television and poisoning my brain with mainstream newspapers and TV and news and their bullshit lies and nonsense. And so I spend a lot of time looking into facts and researching and not only that, I've researched researchers and I've got people that I follow that are, that I trust impeccably.
Wait, you're not a fact checker, are you?
Well, I've got a funny story about that as well.
You've got a funny story about
and actual fact, the fact that you just asked me that is the 2 things I am actually going to bring up tonight.
Okay, cool.
So do you want me to go there now?
You can. Yeah,
Shall I go there now?
Yeah, go there.
Okay. Well, so if you remember, we've spoken in other podcasts about the PCR test, and the fact they haven't isolated the virus. So, what are they actually testing for? So, if they haven't actually isolated the COVID virus, how can you know what you're looking for? What is the test looking for? If they haven't got the genetic code for the virus, what are they testing?
Yes.
And so, but all these positives have come up.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and so I'm always like, well, this is ridiculous. He said, well, they're just making it up as they go along. Well, anyway,
isn't that way the government's always done it?
Yeah, but here's the actual thing. There is a little bit of science, and it's very sneaky what they've done and how they're doing it. And so I only posted it this morning. So if you want to know more information about this in more detail, go and have a look at the video that I've posted, which has been fact checked, by the way, which I'm going to come on to in a minute.
Yeah.
But so anyway, if you actually go and listen and watch that video, there is a cellular microbiologist that I follow. Her name is Amanda Vollmer. She was basically hunted and kicked out of the industry. She was very high up in the virology and stuff, but she basically sussed out what they were doing and challenged them and went against the whole model, and they ostracized her from the industry, and they sort of the thing called gang stalking as well, where they go around your neighborhood and make up rumors and do all sorts of stuff and attack you, and it went on for years and years. But anyway,
they sound delightful people.
That's what they do all the time.
Anyone really lovely.
Anyone that challenges the status quo of the thing. But anyway, so I followed her. Anyway, I come across a video, and it's to do with what they're actually doing with the PCR test. And so what I've discovered is that the official PCR document that's released by the WHO is basically looking for a thing called a primer sequence.
Right.
Okay, and what a primer sequence is like there's like 18 DNA letters, strands. So it would be, for example, CG, CGTT, CG, CGT. So anyway, the thing that does it, what they've done is they've instructed everyone that's going for the PCR test to look at this specific strand. So anyway, what's happened is so anybody that's doing a PCR test, they run the PCR test, which isn't designed to detect infection, which we say all the time, and they're looking for this specific sequence, right, to say whether whether you've got COVID or not. Well, what she's discovered is the thing that they're looking for, the actual 18 DNA sequence, is actually a thing called chromosome 8. And chromosome 8 is what every single human being has in them. So what they're actually doing is so when we go into stress and repair, we make this chromosome then ejects debris out of the cell, which is basically this same sequence. So what they're actually doing now is they're checking, the PCR test is checking you to find your own DNA. And if they find your own DNA in it, they're now saying that you've got it and you need to isolate. So theoretically, what they're basically doing is checking people and saying, yes, you are the virus, isolate yourself. Right. So the COVID-19 strand of information that's basically that they're looking for is actually the chromosome 8, which is in every human. So they're checking to see if you are you, and if they find you in you, you're now basically then to have it, and that's how they're doing it.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's really interesting. So that's how they're doing. That's how they're getting all these positives. They're getting all these positives and all these positives because people are checking it. Let's check and see if you are you. Yes, you are. Right. Yeah. You're the virus. Stay indoors. Yeah. So I find it absolutely amazing. And obviously I put that out, obviously, and it was instantly fact checked.
Yes.
Even though it comes from a WHO official document on PCR testing. Yeah. That's what they're looking for. But it was fact checked. And then I did a video yesterday. I found a video yesterday for research, and that proves that the people that fact check on Facebook are a place called factcheck.org. Yeah. Factcheck.org are owned by the Robert Johnson Foundation. Yeah. And the Robert Johnson Foundation own 1.8 billion in Johnson & Johnson, which are a vaccine company. Yeah. So the people that are speaking out against the vaccines are getting fact checked by the vaccine company. Yes. Yeah. So
the fact checkers have been fact checked.
Yeah. So the fact checkers about all the vaccines are basically. Yeah.
That's right. They're biased. They're just trying to. Yeah. They're trying
even though they say they're not, and it has nothing to do with it.
Well, it can't possibly because they're being funded by a vaccine. How can you go unbiased when you're being funded by the vaccine company? They shouldn't be being funded by anybody. They should have no funding at all. Yeah. They should be paid employees doing a job, not be funded by anything.
Yeah, and I know that people really don't like the fact that I'm pointing this out, and they don't like it because it goes against their belief systems and it goes against what they're told, and it's frightening and it's scary, and oh my God, what's going on? But the fact of the matter is you need to look at the facts, and this is what's going on, and this is what's happening, and this is what they're doing. And there's no good burying your head in the sand thinking and there's nothing going on. There is something very sinister about what's been going on and has done, and we need to actually wake up to this fact and not pretend that everything's all okay, and and there's no, and because it doesn't affect me, and because it's not on the news, it's not true. You got to remember that all part of the same system that are rolling this out. They're all in cahoots.
Because if we pretend it's okay, it's going to get a lot scarier real quick. Yeah. if you don't wake up, it's going to get scary real fast. Yeah. So almost like Australia. Go and check out what's happening in Australia at the moment. Yeah. If you're scared now, go and check that out, and then stand up and wake up.
Absolutely. But anyway, so I put that out. So I thought that was really interesting. Yes. And again, it just proves that everything that we've been saying from the outset's been correct. And
well, it's an interesting twist on what they're actually doing within the PCR test.
And that's how they're finding it. Yeah. Because we've got to know, what are you actually testing for? It's not been isolated. What are you testing for? Yeah. Now we know. We're testing to see if you are you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
great. You're testing positive. You are you. You're positive. You better stay indoors.
Oh, brilliant.
It's clever genius.
Yeah.
It's clever genius.
Well,
for the people that don't know, that don't look into it and just trust the system. Yeah. They go, oh, it's positive. Yeah. Look, it's come up positive. What is that positive about? What does it actually mean? Oh, it just means you've got COVID. Well, what is COVID? Well, COVID is you.
Yeah.
You are you, and you've tested positive for that.
You've tested positive being yourself.
So you better go.
That's brilliant.
It's honestly, when you start deeping in and find out the information, it gets
which
more
is
and more
strange,
crazy.
really, because a lot of people these days don't like being who they are, so they're going to really freak out because they've been tested positive for being themselves, but they don't want to be themselves; they want to be somebody else.
I know.
So that's really going to freak them out because they're all trying to be somebody else on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yeah.
So that's really going to freak them
in
out
real life.
when they get tested positive for actually being them.
Yeah, everyone's trying to be someone else in real life too.
Well,
Do you not say that?
No.
Really?
Well, no,
how are you today, John? Oh, I'm fine. I'm great. No, kids are great, but really behind the scenes, it's a complete mess.
Well,
I just like to pretend to be something I'm not.
Yeah, well, you don't want everyone to know your business. I mean,
Hey?
You don't want everyone to know your business.
No, it's nice to be honest.
But on Facebook,
I know I'm not having a very good day to be quite honest. How are you?
On Facebook, post, I'm so happy, I'm so great, and in the back of it, sitting in a darkened room somewhere in a corner crying in a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that was my Friday night. What about you? That wasn't really. That wasn't.
Oh, brilliant.
No. Did anyone go to firework night? Did anyone have firework? Did you go to firework? There wasn't any firework. No.
There was some fireworks.
There was fireworks.
There was fireworks in my life this week. There has been fireworks.
There was, but I don't know. There has been fireworks in your life as well.
There has, yeah.
That's not necessarily the fireworks.
No.
But if anyone went to a good firework night, let me know, because I've sort of not been to one for ages since they stopped allowing us to use sparklers. Yeah. So
really, is that why you don't go? Because you can't use sparklers.
Yeah, well, like a sparkler. I'm a grown-up person. I know how to use a sparkler.
I know not to shove someone.
Eh?
Pretty petty.
Pretty petty. Sparkle was the whole fun of it.
Is it?
Yeah, I can watch the fireworks from anywhere. You can see them. It's brilliant. So, but I'd like the sparkler.
Were you Scrooge in a previous life?
I was actually, I was Scrooge.
I ain't paying to bloody go in there. No, I'll stand on the hill and watch it with my sparkler.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I can see all of them.
Yeah, it's what I do, yeah. No. I sit there quite long, with a little sparkler, watching the fireworks go up. I'm a very lonely person.
I'm going to say, sometimes I even wonder why I even have you as a friend. It's so inspirational.
I know. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's move on from your sad firework issue. So the funniest thing...
Should I switch that off?
You need to switch that off. The funniest thing I've heard this week is...
Oh, right, yes.
Yes, you want to hear that?
Go for it.
Shall I tell you?
Well, I've already heard it. We might want to tell them.
Well, yeah, okay. So the funniest thing I've heard this week is, again, I know we shouldn't be talking about COVID all the time, but this is just fucking ridiculous, and I've got to mention it. So the Italian Higher Institute of Health have come out this week and said they needed to make a slight readjustment to the official death figures of COVID, which they had in the first 6 months or over this period of time, which shut the whole country down, which made everybody shut their business down because of all of these deaths and all that was on the TV. Yeah. And, and now they had to have all these vaccine passports and everything had to go shut down because of all of these deaths. Right? So now they've obviously played that narrative through, and now everyone's bought into it and everyone's now done it. They've now come out and said, right, actually, we need to readjust the official death figures for COVID, and because actually what's really going on is most people actually died of other problems, and now they've gone through and reconciled it all. They've reduced the official death figure from 132,161 deaths.
Yeah.
How many do you think?
Well, I know because you told me, but yes. Yeah.
So it's mad, isn't it? So they've now reduced it to 3,783.
So from 120 odd thousand,
132,000
down to 3,000.
Down to 3,000.
Fucking ridiculous. Seriously.
And people still believe it all this.
Oh, I know. It's absolutely mental.
Yeah, but it's not on the news.
No. Oh, God.
It's not on the news.
No.
That's conspiracy.
It won't be on the news.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. That is funny. That's just ridiculous.
That is funny.
It's just ridiculous. So, yeah.
So anyway, so there's a load of great information there.
There's a bit of information there for people to sort of digest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do a bit of research, find out what's going on in the world. There's lots of things happening in the world at the moment, like so many things happening in the world at the moment. Yeah. It's absolutely fascinating. But anyway, moving on with tonight's podcast.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've actually been quite busy.
You have been quite busy.
I've been really busy.
You've been really busy, yeah.
I've actually had loads of new people, loads of new stuff.
Yeah.
So where do I start? So I've had a few ladies come to me with abdomen problems and ovary problems.
Yeah.
So I had a young lady come to me who was recommended from somebody who had been having severe ovary pains for years, 7 years, I think it was. Don't quote me on it, but about 7 years. And every time she had her monthly, she'd be in serious pain, lose a lot of blood and all the rest of it. So anyway, she's been to all the specialists and everything and had all of the experts look at her and nothing's got better. And so a friend of ours said, look, you might want to go and see Steve. She comes to see me, and then she sat down and I said, well, what are you here for? Anyway, so she told me about what was going on and gave me the thing. I said, right. I said, well, normally abdomen pains and, ovary pains are due to a profound loss conflict. And then she went, oh, yeah, that would make sense. I said, why is that? She said, well, my dad died and I've had family members have just deserted me. And so there was quite a few people that had left her life. So she had an issue with her sister and her dad died and it all went kind of, so lots of people left her life.
Yeah.
And that all happened just after her father died. Then her sister fell out and then all of the nieces and nephews. So there was all these losses in her life. And so I said, well, that's probably what's causing it. So I did 2 sessions with her and I went to all of the memories and the feelings and the responses that she stored about losing her father and losing, falling out of her sister and all of the nieces and nephews and some other bits as well. But it was all basically the losses of those. Yeah. So anyway, I switched all of those off. And anyway, I saw her this week. And so I said, well, we're just going to carry on because there's some other bits as well that I'm helping her with. And anyway, so I said to her, so how are you? She goes, all my pain's gone. So all of the pain's literally gone now. And she said for the first time in 7 years, she had her monthly where she had no pain. And it was just like a normal thing, and that was just after 2 sessions. Brilliant. And I've had a couple of women like that basically, and it's the same conflict, it's the same thing. It's profound loss that causes anything to do with the ovaries and that particular area. And so so I managed to heal that in just a couple of weeks, and she's happy as Larry because obviously she's gone down the mainstream route and 7 years, and they've just never known what caused the problem. It literally took me 2.5 hours in total to get rid of all of the things that caused it, cause and effect, get rid of the cause, and now the effect's gone, and now she's happy and healthy, and all her pain's gone. Good. And so that was really, really good. I've also, so here's another different one. So I had someone come to me who was doing a session, but they actually at the time was moaning about a toothache and an abscess that they had. And I said, oh, okay. And she goes, oh, I go to the dentist. And I remember that conversation me and you had in the town. I said, I need to go to the dentist. And then,
I remember that.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
So anything to do with teeth, gums, and anything is where we're chewing things over. So we've got something in our head where we're just chewing it over and chewing it over.
Well, the back is chewing over. The front is one to bite back.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway, so it's good job it was the back then, wasn't it? So anyway, so it was I had this abscess and it was all swollen up and her teeth was really hurting. And anyway, I said, I think I know what caused that. So anyway, she said, oh, I'll go to the dentist. I said, you don't need to go to the dentist. So anyway, I said, you're chewing something over. There's something in your life or a decision you're making, or there's something going round and round in your head that you're chewing over that you're stuck with. And I said, so what would that be? And she goes, I know what that is. I was like, okay, great. So anyway, she told me what that was. It was about moving.
Right.
And I didn't know whether they wanted to sell or whether they wanted to stay.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, and she and her husband was sort of like saying, well, I don't care. And so it's putting all of her decisions on the well, and she had to make the decision, but she didn't want to make the decision. She's chewing that. Oh, do I do this? Do I do that to the kids and everything? Yeah. Anyway, all that was going on, and then she had this massive toothache. And anyway, so I went and switched off all of the responses about her being stuck, not wanting to make the decision, where she stuck, what the guilt was, all the stuff around the kids, all the stuff around the school, taking the kids out of school, about leaving family members here and moving on. So I was actually moving quite a distance away, a few hundred miles. Oh. And anyway, so I switched all of that off, and I said to her, I said, don't be surprised that within the next 24 hours that's completely cleared up and you won't need to go to the dentist. And she said, oh yeah, well, I'll believe it when I see it. And anyway, so I got a text message the next morning going, you're freaking amazing. And she goes, oh, my pain's gone in my tooth and I'm no longer in pain. So that was really good well, because that blew her mind away, because she's very, very... She's hard enough to work with anyway, because she's very mainstream model and still believes in doctors and still believes in all that. So to do that was so that's really opened her mind up to what cause and effect and stuff. It's blown her away really. So I thought that was
tooth pain's an interesting one. For many years I always viewed tooth pain as different from other pain, and then I learned to heal my own tooth pain.
You did me.
Did you? Well, I didn't. I just did a bit of clearing with you in town once, didn't I? We were sitting outside.
I was like, really at the dentist. He was having a coffee.
That's right. And I did a bit of clearing, and it went, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like, and I was like,
well,
hang on a minute.
It's fairly simple.
I remember you saying, I need to go to the dentist. And you went, why are you going to the dentist? I said, for my teeth. You go, no, you don't need to go to the dentist. No. You just shut your eyes. I was sitting there, shut your eyes with me, and then you just cleared it. And then the next morning, my toothache had gone. the abscess, whatever was gone. It was that, funny.
Yeah, it's the dental stuff is weird because you perceive it as different from other things, but really it's still the body, it's still the muscles, it's still the bone,
it's still nerves, and
it's still the nervous system and infections and things. It's exactly the same thing as the rest of the body.
Yeah.
So there's no difference. I've treated a few different tooth problems in the past. Obviously, I don't get tons of it because people go to dentists all the time.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with going to dentists. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying don't go to dentists. I'm just saying that if it's not working, then there's a conflict running. So if it's not resolving, or it's getting worse, or it keeps coming back, and it keeps happening, then there's a conflict creating it. I used to have a conflict myself, and it was all basically down to my dad. So if that happens, then that's quite a common thing.
Yeah. So another interesting one as well, which I've had this week. I had some really random stuff, so I thought it was really good to talk about because normally it's just one thing.
One thing, that's right.
But so anyway, I had a guy who came to me this week. He phoned me up. And he was in a bit of a bad way. What happened was he got pulled over, and they arrested him. Because he was just being a bit awkward, really. And they arrested him pulled him over originally for drinking, but he doesn't drink, so he's not a drinker. So they pulled him over. Anyway, he was like, well, I don't drink. Anyway, getting ballsy with him. He got ballsy with him back. Next minute, they've nicked him, taken him down the cells, right?
Right.
So anyway, he then they wanted to give him a blood test, right? So, and he's actually got a phobia of needles, and he was just like, no, you are not putting that in me, putting this needle in me. So he refused to take the blood test. Yeah. And so what they've done now is they've charged him, and he's now going to court for refusing to take a blood test. And so now
that's not a criminal offence, though.
Yeah, I know, but they're refusing to take a blood test. So basically now he's being charged with what they've assumed because they're saying, well, you're guilty then. If you're not going to take a blood test and prove it, you're guilty. So then he's now going to court. And I know, and it's fucking crazy world, right? And so anyway, and now he's potentially going to lose his license and then fundamentally lose his business. So now he's in an absolute state. He's got loads of fear, loads of anxiety, loads of hate, loads of all stuff going on. So anyway, I've been working with him this week and switching off all of his pre-fears and his anxiety about going to court, because he's a really gentle guy and it's really out of his league going into court. He's absolutely crapping himself. It's not really him. Yeah. And so I've had loads of stuff around that and helping him. I switched off all the anxiety of going there and switched off all of his beliefs around, he's already, see in his head, he's already lost his job and he's lost his business and he's freaking out. So I've switched off all of that and switched off all his beliefs of what the outcome's going to be. So I've changed all of that for him, and I keep my fingers crossed it will go well for him. I think it's a bit of it's a massive injustice when you actually hear the story and find out. And obviously, I know what the story is because they have to tell me the answers when I'm asking the questions to find out what it was. And I can tell you now it's 100% injustice. So anyway, and obviously there's also got this phobia and fear of needles as well. So feel sorry for that guy, but I've been working on with him and clearing all that stuff up.
That's a unique it was conflict. It's not something you get every day. Yeah.
So, but anyway, and I'm really pleased that he's reached out to me because a lot of people generally just go, "Oh, I'm hard, man up," and just go through it and just go through all the pain and the anxiety and the fear and get angry and take it out on everybody else and turn up to the court and be an arsehole. When really you don't need any of that. No. You just come and switch it all off and just do it peacefully, happily, and calmly. And actually, you're in control because when you're in that, you're not in control.
Well, you're also going to change the outcome of it as well by clearing it. Yeah. From a law of attraction point of view.
Well, that's what I told him.
By clearing it, you're going to get a better result by clearing it than if you hold all the anger, resentment, and bitterness. It could go really badly. But by clearing it, it's going to go.
So what I did is I actually got him to the end of the outcome. I said, so when you think about coming out of the court with having the result that you want and got rid of all of his negative beliefs.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that
will create the outcome
that he wants. Because I did this. I do use exactly the same thing when people want promotions in jobs.
Yeah.
So I take them to after the promotion and I switch off all of their guilt and shame, so then they get that promotion almost instantly. Yeah. And that's how the law of attraction works. So so I had that as well. So that's been really interesting. And also I've also been working with a young lady who's stuck in a relationship. He's abusive. He's basically abusive. He's just a cocky twat and he's horrible and he treats her really awfully. And she's staying there, but she doesn't want to stay there. And she wants out, but she can't make that decision because she's worried about family. She's worried about her friends. She's worried about the kids. She's worried about the change of life. But she really needs to get out of there. And so I've been, and she's making up loads of shit. Honestly, she's making up loads of shit. It's like, about what he's going to do after and, just all of that stuff. She feels really trapped, really stuck. So that's taken a couple of sessions to clear. But now I've switched off most of the fear of leaving and all of the abusive stuff. And hopefully I've now cleared that way for her to go, do you know what? Enough's enough. I'm not putting up with this anymore. Nobody should. We talk about this relationship. Nobody should be putting up with that shit.
No.
But we do. And you know, we're basically, when we're doing that, we are damaging the kids. And she knows that. She knew that, you know, knows that anyway, but she just feels really, she wants to make do it, but she can't. And she knows it's the right thing to do, but she can't. So I've been switching all that off now and been working through with that. And I think now she's virtually at a point now of being brave enough to step away from that now and start forging a new life for herself. So that's ongoing. That's still ongoing, but I think, you know, so that's sort of really where I've been. And obviously I've just been having my normal regular clients. Yeah. Dealing with all of their funny enough accident trauma. So I've had a few people this week who I've been working with that have had severe car accidents.
Yeah.
And they've got all the images and they're holding that, so I've been working on that stuff, which sort of really comes down to the podcast, doesn't it? So I've done a lot of talking.
Yes, you have. You always do.
Do I?
You always do a lot of talking. Okay, I sit quietly and listen.
Yeah. Quiet John.
Right,
so it's your turn, yeah. So we're going to talk about that. So do you want to talk about how accidents, the trauma of accidents, and how when we go through accidents, how we can hold that information through the shocks and the bangs and the bumps and the energy, and how we can hold that in our body and how it can cause pain, illness, sickness, and loss. And so over to you, young man with the beard. The man with the beard, everyone. Man with the beard.
Yeah, so it's a relevant topic at the moment because, I say, two of Steve's clients came to me for an analysis of what was wrong with their body, see what was actually going on, and to find out what the trauma was. So I analysed that, and I've sent them back to Steve to clear it.
Which I've done successfully.
Which you've done successfully, because there was nothing really wrong with their body. I mean, one woman did have a bit of damage in her shoulder, which needs to be rehabilitated, but I couldn't rehabilitate while the trauma was running. So when we do that, me and Steve I let Steve do the clearing and I'll do the body work. But it is literally the car accident that's been causing the problem. And I see this quite a lot. A lot of the times when we have an accident, it doesn't have to be a car accident, it can be anything. I mean, one of my clients fell over on the ice, and that triggered her to think she was getting old. So that then kept her sciatic pain in place, and then she was nervous about going out. So when we have accidents or injuries that are traumatic, like a car accident or something like that, there are two things that can happen. Either the trauma of it gets stuck in the brain, and then later on, even if you haven't injured yourself at that moment, you can end up getting pain or anxiety or something because of the accident. But it doesn't always kick in straight away because the stress phase is there first. You have to wait, the stress phase has to release, and then when you move into repair, that's when you're going to get the pain or the illness. And the stress phase can last some months before you get the illness. I mean, one of the clients, it was about 5-6 months before she actually started getting pain or the symptoms started coming on after the accident. And one of my clients I treated years ago, who I've mentioned, you know, one kid had headaches, and that was from a car accident. And another girl, she had headaches from a horse riding accident, but they didn't actually injure themselves at the time. There was no injury. It didn't come on until months later. So one of the most important things you can do is clear the trauma of an accident. So an accident can affect you in two ways. It can affect you because the trauma's in place and you're playing the trauma, and then that creates symptoms later. Or the emotions that you feel about the accident, like I've had people come to me with sprained ankles and they did something really stupid, like they kicked something or tripped up over something, and it was them beating themselves up and being angry at themselves which stopped the ankle from healing. So even small injuries that, you know, didn't really create much, but they created an injury, you can actually stop that injury from healing because you're so angry and frustrated at yourself for doing it. I mean, one of my friends and my clients, when I first started working with people, long before I did any kind of emotional clearing or DTO, all I ever did was Reiki back in the early days and body work. One of my clients, I remember working her, and she was a friend, and I was just working her back because she was having back pain. And I only went near her back. I didn't do anything else. And the next day, her ankle went purple because she was a horse rider. And she hadn't horse ridden for years, but she's had a lot of injuries and accidents. And what had happened was the actual injury, because a horse fell on her, had actually got locked in her ankle. So the bruising wasn't allowed to come out. But by me working the muscles and doing the blood flow in the back, it shot the blood around the body and the bruising came out. This was a good thing. Bruising coming out is a good thing.
Yeah.
So it went black, and after that, her ankle felt a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
But she had no idea that was locked in there. So accidents can affect us in two ways. Either the trauma of the accident causes us to be ill later on, and we don't know it.
And we don't make that correlation.
We don't make the correlation because we think, well, we survived from the accident. Nothing, we weren't hurt. And a therapist wouldn't make the correlation either, because a lot of therapists will say, well, were you hurt? You'll go, no. And they'll go, okay, never mind then. And they'll move on. But that's not really the way that works. So either the trauma of it gets locked in your head and you're still running it, or just the way you feel about it and how angry and upset you are that it's happened gets locked and stops the injury from healing.
Yeah.
And so two of your clients came to me and we found out that they actually were both car accidents, and that's kind of where the majority of it stemmed from.
Yeah.
And one lady was affecting her eye and a shoulder and a leg, and it affected multiple different ways.
Yeah.
And she'd even tried meditating, hadn't she, to calm her
meditating,
down.
yeah.
Tried meditating, and the meditation worked briefly, then it came back again. Because it didn't really get rid of the trauma, unfortunately. Meditation doesn't really clear trauma. It just quiets and calms the mind. So you have to really meditate for years to get rid of trauma in that way.
Yeah.
So car or any sort of accident, like I say, one of my clients, I've mentioned it before, young girl, she was chucked off of a horse and she was not injured at that point, but she was taken by her mum to a chiropractor or an osteopath. And that osteopath manipulated her, and when they manipulated, that's when she got pain and headaches. It wasn't the osteopath did anything wrong. It's the manipulation released the trapped energy of what she was going through, and that's all they do. Sometimes osteopaths, that's all they do. Chiropractors, they release the energy, or any. If you've sometimes been to a therapist and it appears they've injured you, often it's not the case. All they've done is release the energy from that trauma, but they don't know how to change it.
Yeah.
So now you're in pain. So just be mindful of that, because I hear of stories where people have been injured apparently by their therapist, and chances are you actually haven't. I had one lady come to me and she was having a lot of pain, and she was so scared of therapists because the therapist apparently caused the pain before her. So she's worried about coming to see me. So after I treated her, I switched off her fear, and then she was fine. But she was so frightened, her body was tense. And look, all the therapist really did was release the stress that she was going through.
Yeah.
But then didn't know how to put it back in the box, if you like.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's, a lot of people, many people get road accidents and car accidents and stuff, and they don't realise that actually the impact and the shock, because then when you hear a loud bang, you hear it, you see it, you experience it, you feel that energy also go into your body. It can jolt you, do a whole load of things.
Yeah.
And what we don't actually realise is that energy actually can be kept inside the body. It can be kept there, and unless that's actually resolved, then it's that energy now that will be held in a specific place. And the same thing for my shoulder, and why when I started going to the gym again, that I put my shoulder out. Yeah. It wasn't the exercise that done it. It was I was holding a trauma in my shoulder, and doing the exercise basically where it had been weakened caused the problem. Triggered it off. So, and now I've switched off all of the stuff related to that trauma. I'm now down the gym exercising again, and it's all right. And I only see you twice. So it's sort of healed on its own with a little bit of help. But so if you have been in an accident and you are suffering from, my young lady struggles with her hip and walking, it will just give way. And just literally give way. And she's tried everything and didn't know what it was, but actually it's the shock of what happened that's affected that particular organ or area of her. And now I've actually been going to it and walking her through the accident and getting her to visualize what happened and hearing the sounds and going to the memories and the impacts and stuff. As I was doing that, she was going, it's going into my leg.
There you go.
And then so basically it went down her leg, then it went to her foot, and then once I got rid of all of that, switched all of that off, all of that had gone. You could actually see that she had already found something, and she already felt instant relief from that. And we still haven't got, there's still quite a lot in it to go, but already she's already noticed just by switching off the memories of that event. that's already going to heal her, because that's where she's holding that emotional stuff. Yeah.
But the thing with the accident is, I mean, the accident, it's not just about necessarily the accident happening in the moment. It can lead on to other things and other scenarios after the accident. Yeah. And sometimes that happens as well. So, you know, if the accident involved other people, you could still be worried or scared for their life without realizing it. And you can have other things happen afterwards. You know, it could be a court case or it could be insurance going through. So anything could then re-traumatize you or continue that trauma running long after the accident's actually happened. And then when all of it gets resolved, when that whole thing finishes, then you move into pain and then you get pain.
Yeah.
But you don't correlate it to the situation.
Correct, yeah.
And the accident can affect you in multiple ways. So, you know, I've known it affect people, make them feel anxious because they feel attacked or they feel powerless.
Yeah.
I've known it affect them. How was it, mate?
Fear of death as well, because that's the main thing is the fear of death with both the girls I'm with is the fear of death. So it's
fear of death. So it affects your mortality. That's what the other was going to say. It affects it raises your mortality. And another one it affects often is your age. So when elderly people fall over or trip or have accidents, they automatically go, "Oh, I'm getting old." They don't think they tripped over when they was 20 and weren't bothered about it. Yeah. But because we're instilled with beliefs that, well, you get old, you're more brittle, you're more fragile. Bollocks. I've seen 80, 90-year-olds doing pull-ups, chin-ups, doing sporting events. I mean, there's no, it was a 80, 90-year-old jet skiing. I mean, Jesus Christ. Age has nothing to do with that. But because we believe it, when we fall, when we're older, we start going, oh, no. So that one of my clients who tripped and fell and hurt herself on the ice, she was then nervous about getting older. And she was in her 70s. I mean, so she wasn't young right about old, but she was in her 70s. But she'd never had a problem when she was in Canada. So she lived in Canada, all the ice and snow, no problems, comes over here, falls over here on the ice, and then she starts worrying about her age. And that's when she started moving badly, moving slower.
What British energy can do to your mind,
dreadful,
isn't it?
I know. But
now we're all going to die. Yeah, it's terrible. The weather. Better stay indoors.
Climate change. It's getting hotter. Really?
Yeah.
It's fucking November. It's not hot now, is it?
Yeah. Did you see that car?
Oh, yeah, I saw the car. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So they all keep banging on about climate change. And then in 1974, they had an engine that could run a generator, lights, heating, and run a car on water. Wow. And do you know what happened to the inventor?
No.
He was taken out.
Was he?
Yeah.
What, for dinner?
No, he was taken out.
Hit.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And that's why, and it was all suppressed and all hidden, and they carried on pushing it. And now all the same people that own these companies are telling us that there's a climate change problem.
Yeah.
Well, you created it, haven't you?
Yeah,
You've created it. You've manufactured it, and now you're saying, oh, we need to put all these measures in and screw the normal person over and put all these prices up and get more money from you, because actually this all could have been changed in 1974 because some bloke actually made an engine that ran on water.
Yeah, exactly.
But we won't talk about that. We won't talk about that. We just took him out.
I tell a lie, there is the funniest thing I've seen. I remember what it was. The funniest thing I saw or heard was they all went to this CO2 conference. COP26, wherever it is, I don't know, COP26 in Glasgow.
All turning up in their planes, their cars.
And that's the funniest thing. They had 800 private jets at Glasgow Airport, and Biden alone has an 85 limousine motorcade to get him to the place, and they thought that was saving the planet. And I was like,
it makes you.
No, it's not saving the planet, is it?
No, it doesn't.
Not that the planet. I don't think the planet's in danger at all. I think the planet takes care of itself. We couldn't care less what cars we have. It's nature. Yeah. But that's still complete irony. Yeah. I mean, 800 private jets at Glasgow Airport when they're apparently going to save the planet. Do me a favour.
Yeah, was that interview with that guy, wasn't it? Who was having a pop at that woman? Do you remember we spoke about this last night, the Chinese? The woman that was talking about climate change, and this guy was...
Oh, that's right. Yeah. There was an interview, there was a TV show or something, and this woman was going on about carbon dioxide, and he said, well, do you know how much carbon dioxide is in the air? And she was like... And he said, well, 0.04%. And she was like, well, I'm not a scientist. He said, well, I've spoken to someone who is a scientist, and it's 0.04%. And 0.3% of that is something and something and something, but it's only 0.04%. So what are we all fucking worried about?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like...
these are just all information repeaters. Scaremongering, fear-mongering, information repeaters.
But she had no answer. She just kept saying, I'm not a scientist.
None of these people have.
And I'm like, really? Stop it.
No, they believe what they're told. They get scared. Then they get on their self-righteous boat, and they go out there flying the flag out. Anything, and then what they'll do is they'll research, they'll use the media to validate the media. Well, that's just fucking mental, isn't it? That's just like asking a burglar if you're going to do burglars burgle houses. No, we don't burgle houses. No. So I mean, it's just mental. But this is all what happens with information repeating.
CNN really was quite shocked because they interviewed the I believe it was CNN. I think it was because they're bloody useless. They interviewed the founder of the Weather Channel. And the founder of the Weather Channel, who is a scientist, but he was an actual scientist, weather scientist, actually came out and said climate change is a complete hoax. What you want about it? There's no such thing. Well, and they were completely stunned. They're like, you're not supposed to be saying this.
I come across a news article from 1925. Did you see that?
No, I don't. Oh,
okay. No, you don't know Facebook. Yeah.
No, I don't know Facebook.
So I found a news article from.
I have a life.
Yeah. No, I do. I'm just trying to wake people up. I just post them out. I just like fart in a room and walk out. Right. You know what I mean? And everyone goes, you got to get triggered. And I'm just like, I don't really care. No. So if you're either awake or you're not. And but anyway, I found this article from 1925, and it said Arctic glaciers. Climate change, and it said in 1925, for February 18th, 1925, it's been found that the Gulf Stream is warming up, and since they started taking temperatures, and the glaciers are melting from 4 miles to 3 miles, and there's been a significant increase in the air temperature. And I'm like, the same old shit. The same old shit, just 100 years later. Yeah. It's just the same repeated patterns over and over again. And all of the mainstream watchers all go, oh, I need to do something about it. But I don't actually realise that it's just the same rhetoric used over and over again. Yeah. And I've said this before.
Now, like, they didn't solve it in 1926. They will solve it now, are they? They're useless.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you actually go and start looking seriously, properly, right, and actually realise that the news is all like fabricated and manipulated to push you down certain agendas. What you need to, if you look at it properly, what they tend to do is recycle the same cycle every 3 years.
Right.
But what they'll do is they'll recycle the same news, but they'll change the name and they'll change the city and they'll change the person and they'll change the scientist. So it's exactly the same story, but in a different town with a different person, a different scientist. So it's like new news. So what they do is they have the same cycle.
Yeah,
that they do over and over again, because people have got a really shit memory, and they can't remember anything from 2 days ago.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Because what they'll do is they can't remember that the news is lying to them nearly all the time. And they'll go back tomorrow night, what's the news again? And go, oh, bloody hell, that's terrible. No, they lied to you yesterday. Did they? I don't remember that. Isn't it terrible? What birds jumped in the virus? And they'll just keep going back to it over and over and over again. So, I mean, that's why the world is crazy and insane, because people have that inability to do that. But yeah, I found that interesting. When I looked into it, there's like a news cycle, not all the time. They do have new things that happen. You know, there isn't, if something happens today, like a bomb goes off or a building collapses, so I can tell you that didn't happen 3 years ago. That happened today. But
I don't believe I see the news anymore.
No,
it's all TV.
You know, unless you can validate it, unless you can actually validate it, and that is not using media to validate media.
No, don't use
unless
media.
You see it and know it.
Don't use another news station to validate the original news station. Because they all use the same language, don't they?
Yeah, all the papers.
Loads of videos being put around.
All the different newspapers and all the different radio stations and all the different TV stations are all owned by one company.
Yes.
Right. So get that.
But
there is no variation in news. They're owned by one company that tell the narrative that everybody has to go with.
What I found really scary was a guy did a montage of videos of all different news stations reporting the same story. And every news reporter said the exact same language. There was no difference in the language. It was the exact same language. And he put them all together and they're all talking at the same time, but it was the same sentences.
No, it's crazy.
And I'm like, that's mental.
People won't look into
it.
People won't look into it though, because they're frightened of they're frightened of finding out the truth. B, they're frightened that what if that's true? Then that means that everything I've ever been told in my news might mean I've been lied to about everything. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. And then the whole world shatters, and then obviously...
Well, join the rest of the world.
And not only that, it's all the people that tried to sell them that they've attacked as conspiracy theorists now. They have to go and be humble and go, do you know what, you might have been right there. Do you know what I mean? So they can't do that. They're not brave enough or man enough. They'll go, do you know what? No. Even the truth's a conspiracy. I'm going to carry on watching my fabricated news nonsense.
Well, the problem with that is, though, there's been a couple of articles, a couple of people reporting now saying that everything that the conspiracy theorists said at the beginning of this virus has now come true.
Yeah, I know.
So
but we're still being fact checked.
But yeah, so really the conspiracy theorists are not really theorists anymore, are they? They're actually truth. Yeah. Because everything we said at the beginning and we were told and that we've said to you have come true. Yeah, and someone actually said, well, what else is now going to come true? And we was like, well, wait for it.
All you got to do is realise that anything that's their conspiracy theory is anything that they're pushing The opposite
is a lie.
The opposite is true.
The opposite, yeah.
So and it's always things that you can't see. And I've said this in other previous podcasts. They will tell you that there's terrorism, right? But you don't see it, you don't experience it. I've been to all the countries all over the world, Morocco, and I've been all over the world, right?
Yeah, never seen terrorism.
Do you know what? I have them going, oh, hello, Mr. Jakes, you want to do? And they're looking after me and they're loving me and they can't do enough for me. They're not trying to kill me and blow me up. No. Doesn't matter what Muslim country I go to. They are
sure?
Right?
I've tried that a few times.
Seriously, honestly, I get more chipping flipping downtown right, than I do in 85 countries. So I don't see that, right? But yet, according to the TV news, it's really a big problem.
Yeah.
And also then, so that's that thing that you can't see. It's always in a country that you can't validate it.
That's right.
This climate change. This is in Antarctic and the Arctic.
Yes.
Well, I can't go there and check it out, so I have to believe you.
Or it's happening in space.
Yeah,
you can't go to
it's happening in space where you can't go.
You can't see it.
You can't actually go there. You just have to believe us.
Yeah,
this virus, right? It's so small that you can't see it, but it's there.
It's there.
You'll have to believe us.
It's in the air, but it's so small, it's invisible.
It's always stuff that you can't go and actually prove. It's always the invisible enemy.
Yeah.
It's invisible enemy.
It's big enough to land on you and go through and not let the mast stop it, but it's small enough that you can't see it with a naked eye.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
And we've got all these experts and they are all professionals.
And
we're going to tell you can't see it and you don't see it when you go outside. No. But on the TV, it's really bad, and you have to trust us. All these people, and tests and then cases, and that. Even though you don't know it, and you can't say. You just have to believe it's the invisible enemy, it's always the invisible enemy. Yeah. So anything that you can't go and validate and do for yourself, you have to go and believe these authority figures that you don't even know they're authority. It's just that they're telling you they're a scientist. You don't actually know. No. Just it says scientist, PhD in biology. Doesn't mean he is. He could be paid to just say whatever he's going to say. So unless you can go and validate it, it's always them things. That's for the conspiracies. They're the ones that I've come to realise they're the ones that we're being lied to about on an epic scale. And the problem is that they use fear. And then they push an agenda and everyone buys into it. Yeah. And you have people gluing their hands to police cars or sitting in front of flipping on zebra crossings, having a pop at traffic because, the traffic are, polluting the world and, and there's all this stuff. Well, actually, don't ever go at the people that have got no other choice other than to get in the car and go to work. Have a go at the people that have suppressed the water engine.
Exactly, yeah.
They're the people you should be attacking, not the everyday. But people won't. It's an insane world we're living in. But we really have veered off accidents, the trauma of accidents.
We have, yeah. So coming back to accidents, if you are in pain or you're sick or you're injured, think back and ask yourself, have you had an accident in the last few years? And it could go back, 10, 15 years. It doesn't matter because it depends how quickly you came. Well, it depends when the illness came on, depends how traumatic the accident was. It depends on multiple different factors. So just ask yourself, if you're still in pain, if you're still ill or still anxious or something, ask yourself, what accidents have I had? And make a list of the things that come up. Yeah. And then that there's a good chance that those accidents are going to be part of, if not all of the problem. Now, obviously, there is a process to go through to check it that I take people through and double check it. And that's more of a meta-diagnosis that I use. But there's a good chance if you've been in an accident and you had a trauma, then it's probably either the main cause or at least part of the cause of the symptoms you're getting, even if you didn't injure yourself at the time.
Yeah. So
even if the accident caused no injury and you walked away scot-free, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. That's not the point.
Yes.
And if you did injure yourself in the accident, and you you did it in the accident because as soon as you got out you had pain and you haven't healed, the same thing is relevant. The accident is the response, the emotion of the accident is holding that injury in place.
Yeah. Well, with the girl that I'm working with at the moment, one of the girls I'm working with now, she come and saw you with her shoulder and stuff. I saw her this week, and she had a fear of death running from quite a bad accident.
Yeah.
Bless her. And but once I actually went into the accident of all the responses that she stored from it and got rid of that, she messaged me, I think, within a few hours and said how much she was in less pain.
Yeah.
And she felt really, really good. And, so because she's not been able to do any exercise, she's got a really bad shoulder and she's really struggling. And it's getting to her now because she's quite, she likes to do her fitness. She likes to go to the gym and she can't really do anything. And it's causing her problems. So the mere fact that all that happened from an accident that happened years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
It happened years ago, so and she's holding all of that. And problem is all if you go through an accident like her where it was a really severe accident and you think, as I said, there was a fear of death running. If you've got that fear of death running and that's running in every area of your life, that can cause health anxiety, that can just make you overcautious, over paranoid. You're always on edge, you can't sleep, all that stuff. So, but just after one session with her, a lot of her pain's reduced already, and as we continue through that, hopefully that will go. But it just reiterates what you were saying.
Yeah, and the fear of death conflict is actually a very common. Well, when I say it's common, I think most human beings go through that at some point in their life. So it's a very common conflict that people have. But what I do want to say about accidents is one of the things that people may not realise is you can actually make stuff up about the accident that you don't realise you're making up. So my client who had the headache, the young boy, he'd actually invented a 360-degree image of the accident, but he couldn't see a 360-degree image of the accident. He just made it up in his head, and that image was making up most of his headache. Just seeing that I think the car had spun and it hit the side ultimately, but he'd made up in his head a 360-degree image of seeing the whole outside of the car as it spun, and that in his head was causing a lot of problems. Now, he wasn't going around every day seeing this. So it's not like he was conscious of this, because he wasn't. He wasn't walking around going, like his head in lights.
His head is spinning.
Yeah, spinning. That wasn't happening, but it was happening as
unconscious. Like an image, a stored movie.
Image stored movie. Yeah. And it was playing over and over again. And as soon as I switched that off, a lot of the headaches went away. Yeah. So you can actually create images or sounds in the brain from these accidents that are over exaggerated from what happened, and that makes the problem worse as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So other things as well is obviously you've got the physical stuff as well. So if you get injured physically, and the rehabilitation element of that, it's not all psychological, neurological, although most of the stuff that happens after does. But then you also can have impacts and stuff where you might not necessarily think it's at the time, because you've obviously gone into a fight and flight and you've gone into stress anyway, so you wouldn't feel it. And then later on, you can come into physical elements and start, because we're holding, certain shocks like whiplash or stuff with your leg. So the lady that I'm treating now, she's had this problem with her right leg, and what's happened is that as she watched the accident happen in front of her, and then all of a sudden this car's come back and then started going towards her. So what she's tried to do is she's put her foot down to try and avoid the oncoming car, and then got hit. So because she's used her foot to push down on the accelerator,
that's hit the foot.
Right, push down on the accelerator, then she's hit the bang. That's subconsciously, neurologically, is affected and stored that information in the foot and in the leg. Now she's having problems walking, and she's got a problem with her feet. Yeah. And I said to you earlier on, as soon as I switched that off, it's happened. But that's where we can store energy in situations like that. You might not even be aware of that's actually happening.
Yeah, because if we make a physical movement during that trauma, then that physical movement can get linked.
Yeah, and it gets stored
to the memory, and we don't realise it. And so people say, "Oh, well, it hurts when I'm doing this." Well, that's because that action or that movement has been linked to the trauma you've been through. That doesn't just go for accidents; that goes for lots of things. So the actual movement that causes problems has just been linked to the trauma. That's all that's happening. And in that case, it's a very obvious thing to happen. But she wouldn't have been aware of it at all.
It's only as I was working through it that the energy was moving from certain parts of her body into that. As I was clearing some of the fight and flight responses, all of a sudden the energy was moving from here to there to here to there, and she could actually, it's moved from me, it's moved from the top of my leg, it's moved down to my foot. Yeah. And I was just connecting, so I connect to that energy. What's the response? And then it all went. So
So if you have had an accident, if you are ill or you're suffering in pain or with anything, then just ask yourself, well, have I had any accidents that were traumatic or any accidents really, and just make a list of them. Maybe you do sports all the time and you've had some injuries from that or accidents from that. What Steve said about the physio, yes, you do need rehabilitation. You need rehabilitation, but the rehabilitation will only work if the trauma is cleared. So one of the clients, Steve, that came to me, I went to give a rehabilitation exercise to start her off, but she couldn't do it because the trauma was still trapped so badly in her shoulder that she wasn't even able to do a simple rehabilitation exercise. So once Steve's cleared that, she'll come back to me. I said she needs to come back to me so I can rehabilitate the shoulder. Yeah. Not that really there was actually technically any major damage to the shoulder. It was just getting weaker and weaker. But the trauma was so severe in that she couldn't even do the simple exercise I gave her. And the exercise I gave was really gentle. And she couldn't even do that. So if you're going to physio or you're seeing a rehabilitation expert and it's not getting any better, chances are the trauma's still trapped in there, or you're finding the exercise is painful. Chances are the trauma's still trapped in there and it's not going to work for you. And I see that on a regular basis as well.
Yeah, cool. Right, have you got anything else you want to talk about when it comes to accident trauma?
No, I don't think so.
Well, it also could affect digestive issues because you can't stomach.
Oh, it can affect anything. It depends how you perceive the accident.
It is all about perception.
Your perception of the accident is, so if you feel attacked, you're going to get anxiety. If you can't accept and swallow it, like Steve said, you get stomach problems.
Yeah.
The pain thing, it's probably not going to be a self-worth issue. If you're getting pain, it's probably going to be the anxiety. Because anxiety can cause a lot of tension in the body and cause you to crease up like this. But you could get neurological problems like this woman's with a leg.
Yes,
that's slightly neurological. That's not the muscles. That's a neurological problem.
Yeah,
even though
it's a signal
that's a signal. It's a signal that's just cutting out. Even though she's had all the neurological testing, I think, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And it's not shown anything up. That doesn't make a difference.
No, I found it and got rid of it.
Yeah. You can still have that in the body and it won't show up on an x-ray or anything.
Yeah.
And if it does, it's still the same thing. You're still having a neurological trigger or reaction to the conflict. It's just not always obvious.
Yeah.
So no, that's basically, it's such an important thing because it's one of the first things I look for when people come to me in pain. Have you had any accidents or injuries?
Yeah.
So it's very, and also it can affect our confidence as well in ourselves. So it can have, I've known, especially guys, I've had a few people. Guys. I've known a few men who've had some injuries and accidents, and it's affected their confidence in their abilities. And that has affected their muscles because that is their self-worth.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy when I first started out on this journey, doing what I do now. There was a guy
What do you do now? Who are you? What?
When?
I've confused you, haven't I?
I did.
Yeah, I said, what do you do now? It was a joke.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm completely lost.
You look lost.
I'm a broadcaster.
Like, is being lost working for you?
No.
What's the opposite about?
I don't know.
Okay,
right, so anyway, when I first started out and I started doing this, I had a guy, one of my first clients was a guy who was in a road accident, and he was based in London, and he couldn't come and see me, so I drove to London to his house.
Oh, and you're so nice.
I know, I'm a good guy.
Such a nice
so anyway, I drove to London to his house, never met this guy, turned up in London.
Charged him a fortune for it and everything.
No, I didn't. So anyway, I went there, and so I had to go to his house, but that was the same thing. He basically had this road accident where he was at a roundabout, and someone had come and hit him while he was waiting at a roundabout to leave, and that basically meant that now he had all these PTSD images, and he lost all his confidence, and he basically couldn't get in his car and drive, just couldn't do it. Yeah. So for 2 years he just couldn't get in a car and drive because he completely freaked him out and completely shattered his confidence. He couldn't go near a car. And within an hour and a half, I'd got rid of all of those images and everything. And the friend from London that recommended me told me the next day, he goes, "Oh, I've just seen him driving up the road." And I was like, "Really?" She goes, "Well, yeah, he must have done something because he hasn't got in his car for 2 years." So it just goes to show that once if you've got this confidence or you've got these paranoias or these fears, they're all intrinsically in your brain and in your mind. And once you get rid of them, he's just got back to his car and started driving again. Yeah. So that it goes about confidence, really. Again,
so accidents can affect you psychologically. Not necessarily with a lack of confidence, but with just a fear of driving again.
Yeah.
Or a fear of going skiing again, or whatever the accident was, it can make you scared or frightened to do that thing again when it was just an accident.
Yeah.
And that can often stop people doing something they love or enjoy doing. I used to ice skate a lot. I loved ice skating, and a lot of the people there, they'd have an injury or an accident and a fall, and they'd be really like a nervous wreck getting back on the ice again. In fact, my ice skating instructor at the time, he did really badly damage his leg, like really badly, and it was a very intense rehab that I had to do with him because he shattered the ankle bone and he broke the tibia, And he did it doing something really simple, just stopping. He wasn't even doing anything complicated. He just stopped, flipped over on his ankle, and it just shattered.
I love ice skating. So that's great.
Well, he's never really had an accident.
I used to do ice skating.
Yeah, he's never really had an accident in his life before. It's the first one he ever had. Now, I know he was actually resolving a conflict. We'll skip over that.
Yeah.
But
that'll fry everyone's brain.
That'll fry everyone's brain. So that's a different area of accidents, which we'll come on to another time.
Yeah.
But I did the rehab for that. And it was 3 weeks of intense rehab. Now, the other thing that can happen with accidents is he was put in plaster. They did the operation. That was all great. But the hospital said, it'll be another 6 months before we're back on the ice. Now, the problem with that is that this guy my mate wanted to shoot himself because he was self-employed. So he had to be better quickly. And they go, it's 6 months. This is how doctors scare people. Your body can heal very quickly given the right information. Now, yes, I had to do 3 weeks of very intense body work on him. I was working twice a day on his day to get it better. But when he got back on the ice 3 weeks later, so we got him on the ice 3 weeks after the operation when they said it takes 6 months. But when he got back, he was nervous. So I had to switch off his lack of confidence to get him back fully on the ice again. Because he'd been off the ice for a few months because obviously the operation and everything. And he lost his confidence.
Yeah.
So it's very important to also recognise these accidents and injuries, they can affect us psychologically. And we don't need to be affected psychologically by it. You can switch it off and just move forward. It is just an accident.
Yeah.
As long as you haven't been maimed or anything, then,
Yeah, it's the same with the guy with the car in London.
Exactly.
He didn't want to get in his car for 2 years, and within an hour and 20 minutes, I've switched all of the stuff off, and the next day he's back roaring up the road again.
Precisely, yeah.
I mean, I had a similar thing when towards the end of my football career, I was playing, and one of my friends had a really bad tackle and literally snapped his leg in half, and it was really bad. It was a really bad tackle. But I was virtually 10 foot away. I heard the noise, I heard the break, and obviously after that really damaged my confidence in football. I mean, I used to put myself, I wasn't scared or anything. I was always getting stuck in everywhere. But when I saw that and heard that, it really, I remember going over and almost throwing up. And after that, I lost all confidence in playing football. It was only really about another 18 months. I played a bit of six-a-side, non-contact stuff, and then I quit after that. I mean, I did have also a really bad back situation, which was also stopping me. But that wasn't the back that stopped me playing. It was I just literally had the sound of the whole. It was quite a traumatic experience, and it was for everyone when you see one of your mates, and it was a really bad break as well. And somebody done it to him. And that damaged my confidence really, and I pretty much within 2 years I'd quit competitive football because I just thought I don't need that in my life.
No, exactly.
I was running a massive company at the time, I joined running a massive company, and I couldn't afford that and didn't want it. It really did do.
You might want to switch that off.
Yeah. Might want to.
You might want to. I mean, these things do affect us in multiple ways, but they shouldn't. They're not designed to do that. If you have an accident or an injury, even if it's minor, it is just that. It has nothing to do with your age, nothing to do with your abilities. It's just one of those. Well, it's not one of those things. It's part of a healing phase, if I'm honest. It's actually a resolution of something. The accidents are not random, but that's all it is. It's nothing to do with you. Don't make it about you. Get back to doing your sport and hobby. Human beings are way more resilient than we're actually told we are. We're told we're so weak and so fragile and this and that and all this nonsense, and we're actually not that weak and fragile. Accidents do happen because sometimes we're just being stupid or someone comes in and knocks us over. But we are very resilient creatures. We're very strong and in our bodies. Obviously, you must train to be able to do your sport. Obviously, you will injure yourself. I'm not saying you should do that, but don't be frightened of your body. Or
all problems happen from when we have an accident or some event that happens in our life where we make a perception of it and we make shit up. That's basically what we're doing. Yeah. But we the shit that we make up, we believe to be true. And then that gets stored in our subconscious. Go and watch my video on the brain and how that all works, because that would help everybody massively. But and that's what's going on. And unfortunately, when we store that we have that shock and we store that information, we have that as a belief. Beliefs drive behaviors. And now, because all of a sudden you'll see that, like for me, I was like, oh my God, that's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Right. So now what's happened is I stopped playing football because I thought it was going to happen to me. Yeah. It hasn't happened to me. I've made stuff up. Now I've gone into a fear response,
yes, right,
which isn't true, isn't real. I mean, bearing in mind I played for 30 years before that, not had anything like that, and I was fine. So it generally is like that. I mean, it's when we're just generally making up shit and believing the shit we make up. And everybody that comes to me recognises that. I mean, like the lady in the relationship, she's making up loads of shit.
Oh, we do. We always
she's making up loads of shit why she should stay there, and the kids. Well, no, you're doing more damage to the kids for staying there, and my family's gonna be. No, you're just making this up, And she's trying to recognise that now, and but it is all basically that making up stuff from a perception. And when we do have a bad accident, and we make that up, not only do we have the injury or the energy of that, but we've also got the beliefs that we make as well. I can't drive. The world's dangerous. The road's dangerous. I'm going to get injured. My leg's going to get broken. This and that. So you have all these beliefs now around it, which aren't even true. And those beliefs drive behaviours. So we have to. If you know that and you are having trouble after an accident, then not only do you probably want to switch off the energy and the response and on the impact of that, but you might want to switch the beliefs off as well.
That's right, you must switch the beliefs off.
The beliefs off as well. And any triggers.
Exactly.
So if you watched a car accident where an escort hit a Fiesta and it was really bad and quite traumatic, you could be driving down the road and see a blue Fiesta roll past you in the middle lane. All of a sudden that will trigger your response to the accident that you saw 4 years ago. You're not having a panic attack in the middle of the road as you're driving. You go, oh my God, what's going on? You won't know what it is, but it's an unconscious trigger because it was a blue escort. And it was a blue escort that you saw having the accident, or a silver Fiesta, or whatever it is. I'm just, BMW 3 Series. And every time you see a BMW 3 Series, you start going, start acting weird because it's a trigger that's triggering the memory and the responses of that memory. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's right. It's important to clear triggers. One of my clients, years before I had DTO, she actually predicted her boyfriend's motorcycle accident. So she saw it happen before it happened, tried to call him, didn't get to him, and he died. And every time she'd drive down the road to go to work, she just couldn't do it because the road would remind her. So it wasn't her accident. She was being traumatized by. Obviously, you would be. That's a truth. So she was grieving heavily, and she felt so guilty she couldn't get hold of her boyfriend, and so she was traumatized by his accident. And we can do that as well. We traumatized by other people's accidents, like you said, and that can affect.
Well, I was by my friend's injury.
Have we had some comments? Because when
I say no, I mean
we have had some comments. I didn't see them. I can't read them.
Just had some from Julie. Hello, Jules. How you doing?
Hey, Jules.
And Jane, obviously, she always says
Jane. Yes.
Nice. Bit that was like 2 hours ago. And Laura, my Ruben's mum over in Ireland.
Oh, hello, Laura.
Hello. Still watching her.
Once, Laura.
Really
nice to hear from you. Good.
Nice. I spoke to her yesterday, and she's doing really great over there with a little new bubba, Theodora. So Ruben's got a little sister now.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's lovely.
What about the old tippy tappy? Any comments on the tippy tappy?
On the tippy tappy? No one's actually commented on the tippy tappy tonight.
Are we boring everyone tonight?
No, they're too busy firework displays and watching News 24.
No fireworks going on, is there?
No, listen, it's quite around, isn't it?
It's quiet,
it's crazy here last night.
Peaceful quiet. I actually wanted to put a post out about, and I was going to do it, but I didn't in the end. I was going to say, as it's firework this weekend, I've had an idea. I think we should all try and raise Guy Fawkes.
Yeah, I think we should
and
celebrate him properly.
Celebrate and let him finish the job he started back in the old days. Or at least find his great relative and give them some matches and let them finish the job.
I'll tell you what I did see today. Actually, whilst I was doing my research, is I saw there's a thing called the Global Veterans Alliance. Have you seen that?
I saw what you showed me the other day.
Oh yeah, no. So there's a group, all the vets, ex-vets, military, from all around the world, paras, SAS. So I watched the video with Chris Thrall, all of them, paratroopers, SAS, all coming out now.
Wow.
And they're all saying, nah. This ain't happening.
Brilliant.
They all turned up with their big banner standing outside Scotland Yard and House of Parliament, all being filmed. Brilliant. Saying, and a lot of the lady soldiers as well, all with their berets. Nah. We're doing. So even now the veterans and them are getting involved, which I think is fantastic.
They need to.
And it's really great to know because, as individuals, especially when you know what we know and we can see what's going on, you can feel really powerless and you can think, well, who's going to stop it? Who's going to stop us? Who's going to protect us?
Yeah.
I don't see our military doing it. I don't see our politicians doing it. They're all on the other side.
Yeah.
The war's against us. And we, as you can see, it's happening in Australia, Germany, Italy, France, and who's going to protect us? So it's really great to see those vets coming out and we support them I certainly do.
That is good. Yeah,
really great.
Yeah,
it's really great.
And it protects the people.
Yeah, because nobody's protecting. The police aren't. The police are working for the scum.
They work for the government.
And right now we're all on our lonesome, having to try and go through court, and all the judges are corrupt. And all part of the club.
No, not all the judges.
No, not all of them.
No, some of them have ruled really well.
Majority of them are. When you know what you know. And so realistically, and if they're not, they get intervened by the higher powers, and it doesn't go through. So right now we're sort of like on our back foot, and we're without really many resources to push back. But people are doing it, and it's really great. So I just want to say, take my hat off to that Global Alliance. That's good. Really, really good. So I'm proud of them. Okay, cool. So anyway, let's move on now.
Okay.
So time is ticking. And so, as you well know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Super Rollover Sunday. That's right, Super Rollover Sunday. Because this is the third Sunday now where Jonathan not only gets the opportunity to win one Healing the Mind pen and keyring, but we've now doubled the prize. So now 2 Healing the Mind pens and 2 keyrings, priceless commodities. You can't get them anywhere other than on the black market or directly from me, because they're so valuable. And it breaks my heart, and it really hurt. In fact, I might have to give 2 of these away, considering how many.
It's doubtful he will, to be honest.
So as we know, so go grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper if you want to join in. This is a multiple choice, true or false, 10-question quiz. And in order to get your prize on Super Rollover Sunday, you need to get 6 answers out of 10. Right?
6 out of 10. Go on, go for it.
You're going to do 6 out of 10?
I doubt it, but carry on.
You did all right last time.
What did I get last time?
5.
I did.
So you did 4 originally.
Yeah, and then I
and
lost
you got
it.
a 5.
Yeah.
And so
and I lost it on the rest.
You lost it on the rest. You were doing so well.
I was doing well. Didn't he do well?
Didn't he do well? So I just want to ask, how are you fancying your chances today, mate? You're doing Bruce Forsyth impersonations. Yeah. So, I'll ask you again. What do you think you're going to do tonight, mate?
Probably not great. I'm not good at general knowledge. I don't. Could be a belief system, apparently.
Could be, but I am giving you the answers, remember.
You've are multiple choice.
You've just got to pick the right one.
I get that, but okay. I haven't been very successful at that, have I?
Well, no. So, okay. And you didn't cheat. You didn't cheat earlier.
This is why I hated school, because they did multiple choice.
Put you under pressure.
Yeah.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so if you've got your pen, grab a pen, 10 questions. And like I said, there are multiple choice. I will give you the answer. You just got to pick the right one, or it's a true and a false.
Okay.
So you ready to begin?
Let's go.
Right, great.
Let's go.
So here we go then. So question 1.
Yeah.
For the Super Sunday, Super Rollover, double pen prize.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can feel the heat coming off you, mate.
Can you?
Nervous.
You're nervous.
It's like, woo! Right.
No, that's climate changing, mate.
Climate change, yeah.
My body's reacting to the climate.
Exactly, yeah.
In the studio.
Great.
Yeah.
Is there a test for that?
No.
Right, okay, cool. So, question one, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to start off with question 1 because it's always the best place to start. Yeah. And we're going to start off with number 1. So, the Gillette,
the razor,
is the measurement of what? Oh, look.
I can't see. I got my glasses on.
That was a good job then. Is the Gillette a measurement of what? Is it A, the sharpness of a blade, B, the power of a laser, or C, the reflective power of a mirror?
I'm going to say the sharpness of a blade.
Is, in actual fact, well done, the wrong answer. So you're not going to get any there. It's a 0 for that one. Do you know what it is?
No.
It's the power of a laser.
Is it?
Yeah.
Then why do they call Gillette razors? Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you the reason why.
Yeah.
So Theodore Maiman, who is the guy who made the first laser, he measured the strength of the laser by seeing how many Gillette razor blades, he could cut through.
Right. Okay.
So that was how it got its measurement.
Yeah.
Right, so it was to do with razor blades, but how many
he cut through?
How many cut through was then how powerful the laser was. So they called it a Gillette.
Okay, cool.
It's a power of a laser. So none for you there. 1 for me. Did you get that, ladies and gentlemen? Did you get that?
I think I'm going to do him a quiz next time and ask him questions and see how he gets on. But they won't be general knowledge. They'll be about magic, ice skating, and a few other things that I know about. And see how he gets on.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Triple Sarko.
Yeah. No. Ask you what a Charlier pass is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that a tunnel in France?
What a French drop is? No. No.
Yeah, go down the Charlier Pass through the Alps, and you'll be there.
Is that tunnel Diana took?
No.
Okay, no. That's a conspiracy
That was in
theory
Paris.
as well.
Yeah,
that was in Paris. It was, yes.
Carry
on. Number 2.
Great, number 2. So
I could do with number 2.
Right. So, good job. This isn't a shit question.
Okay, good.
Which civilization was the first to divide time into units of 60?
Okay, yeah.
Was it the Chinese? Was it B, the Greeks, or C, the Sumerians? Past your bedtime, mate.
Yeah. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
What are you up to?
No, nothing like that. No,
really?
No.
Was it the Chinese that we had?
No, it wasn't.
Digest it.
No, I couldn't swallow it. That's what it was. All those mushrooms.
Yeah, I know.
I'll go B, the Greeks.
Is, in actual fact,
the wrong answer.
It wasn't the Greeks at all. No. In actual
See,
fact,
this is what Steve doesn't understand. I'm actually going for the wrong answer. If you gave me merit for actually getting the wrong answer, I would win. That's what I'm trying to get the wrong answer.
Yeah. You're doing a really good job of it as well. Yeah. So, no, actually, the answer is the Sumerians.
Oh, okay.
So the Sumerians were the first to use a mathematical system based of 6, 10, and 6. And they were the first race to divide time into 60 minutes, which obviously, if you know about the Sumerians, you'll know all about the Anunnaki, and you'll know about the creators, Enki, Enlil.
Before we started doing these quizzes, I was thinking about going on a chase, but I've decided not to do that now on these quizzes. I wouldn't get very far, would I?
No, probably not.
No.
So, so I know a lot about the Anunnaki and the Emerald Tablets and all the rest of it. Okay. But anyway, so it was the Sumerians.
Okay.
All right.
Number 3.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
True or false? Britain's first Indian restaurant opened before Britain's first fish and chip shop. Is that true or is that false?
True.
Tick tock, tick tock.
True
is the right answer.
There you go. I've got one.
Yeah. So the first Indian restaurant opened before the first fish and chip shop, and it was opened in 1809. It was called the Hindustan Coffee Shop in Portman Road, and the first fish and chip shop didn't open until 50 years after that.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That'll piss all the nationalists off.
That would piss.
I've done history, I know Dave, I know the quote, you know what I mean? Proper. Anyway,
number 4.
Number 4. So you got one right.
Yeah, brilliant. I want a winner.
You're a winner. Okay. So what is measured? Number 4. What is measured by the Scoville scale? The Scoville scale. Is it?
I could answer that really badly.
Is it? I know. Don't.
No.
We've got people watching. So the Scoville scale, is it measured by the density of wood, the heat of peppers, or the potency of human sperm?
I'll go for B, the heat of peppers.
Is the right answer.
Is it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. So Wilbur Scoville in 1912 measured the quantity.
Wilbur Scoville,
yeah, in 1912 measured the quantity of chemical capsicum which is the heat that's provided in peppers.
Right.
And so he done a scale. Pure capsicum registers at 16 million. Right, 16 million units, and the hottest pepper, which is the Naga Jolkia, that's only 1 million.
Right.
So registers are over 1 million. But so there you go. All right, the Naga Jolkia
every day,
so 1 million units, but the pure capsicum is 16 million. So, all right, so that's 2. You've got 2 out of 4.
Wow. Well, I'm 50% now.
50%. Right, great. So
I feel so alive right now. I'm alive with pleasure.
Yeah. So, okay. So the next question, number 5. Here's a good one.
Yeah.
Who was the first person to be murdered live on TV?
This is a really joyful podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, now, who's the first person to be murdered live on television?
Wasn't Tom Cooper, was it?
Was it? No. Was it John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, or Lee Harvey Oswald?
Ooh.
The first person to be murdered live on telly.
Well, John F. Kennedy.
Yeah? Is the wrong answer.
Is it Martin Luther King?
Nope, it was Lee Harvey Oswald. Although Kennedy was shot, it wasn't shown live. It was played over and over and over and over and over. But the video was played, but it wasn't played live. Okay, so he wasn't murdered live. It was a recording. And what happened is that it was repeatedly broadcast, and then afterwards they were filming Lee Harvey Oswald coming out, and Jack Ruby shot him. and that was the first live murder on TV. So it was Jack Ruby killing Lee Harvey Oswald. It wasn't JFK.
Okay.
JFK was a recording that they kept playing.
Typical. No, get that one wrong.
All right, 2 out of 5.
Okay.
Did that?
Should I quit now because I can't win?
I don't know. Yes, you can.
I can't.
Of course you can. You've got 5 questions. You get 7 right.
Okay. Oh, we've only done 5 questions.
Right,
okay. Carry on.
Okay, great. So,
yes.
So, 1903. A young lady called Mary.
How long have I been here?
1903. Mary Anderson.
Mary Anderson,
Very nice young lady, was famous for inventing what? What did she invent? Did she invent the dishwasher, the windscreen wiper, or the zip?
The dishwasher, the windscreen wiper, or the zip? I'm going to go for the windscreen wiper.
Boo is the right answer.
Hey.
Well done. She did actually. There was another guy called James Apjohn, and he had a patent for it, but her patent preceded that, and so she's been granted the inventor of the windscreen wiper.
Well done, Mary.
Yeah, so you've got 3. See, don't quit.
No, don't
never quit.
Never
3
quit.
out of 6.
Never quit.
Don't be a quitter.
No.
Right. Okay. Cool. So this one will do you. 1904. The Tour de France. I'll start again. In 1904, Tour de France winner. The Tour de France winner was won by defending champion Maurice Garin. Right. But why was he disqualified? Right. Was he disqualified through the use of drug enhancement? Was it because he jumped on the train, or because he decided to split the race with his twin brother? God, that face looked really painful. It's like having a crap.
I'm gonna go.
John's squeezing one out live on podcast, live on Facebook.
Yeah. That's constipation. That is. I'm going to go with he decided to split it with his twin brother.
Is, in actual fact, the wrong answer. He actually got disqualified because he jumped on a train.
Oh, I was going to go with that one. I was like,
he jumped on a train. So you still got a chance. You've got to get all 3 right.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. So you might get this one.
Okay, go on.
Okay. So what was Eugene Caroman's unique claim to fame? Unique to Caroman's. Was he the first actor on TV, the last man on the moon, or the only US elected president to have never served? All fireworks.
Oh, they're going off.
It's all kicking off.
It's all kicking off now.
Call the happy police. Put that into that.
What was it again?
Eugene Caroman's unique claim to fame. Was he the first actor on TV, the last man on the moon, or the only US president to never have elected president to have not served?
First actor on TV. It's the present one, isn't it?
No, he was the last man on the moon, actually.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the commander of Apollo 17.
But we know that's not true, so that's a false. That's a lie.
Well, yeah, but according to the history that we're told.
Oh, okay. According to history, we're told.
Yeah, he was the commander
of
Apollo 17, and in 1972 became the 12th and the last, and allegedly the last man to be on the moon.
Okay, fair enough.
We're going to do much of that because there's other people watching. They might have joined in.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 9.
I've lost a super bonus.
You have.
I am gutted.
Is it super rollover?
I've lost a super rollover. I am gutted.
This could be going on for months, couldn't it?
I'm never going to recover from this. In a minute, I'm going to have to clear Steve's accident because he's going to have one really quickly. So if anyone's watching, next time if he's got a broken arm or a fractured neck, you'll know why. Live.
You're in a live accident. I could be the second person live.
Exactly. You could be the second person murdered live on. No,
live on TV.
No, you could be the first person live on Facebook.
You could be the first person to speak properly on TV.
Be. Yeah, no. That would be Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
You could be the first person murdered on Facebook Live.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Can
I have that one?
Yeah, you could have that one.
Brilliant.
Go on, him.
Right,
hit me. No, don't hit me. Just give me the question.
I'll let you if you want.
No, don't hit me. No.
Okay, so here's a good one. What makes leaves turn brown in autumn? So when autumn comes, what makes the leaves turn brown? Is it
fear?
It could be fear, yeah. It could be fear, shitting himself because the snow's coming.
Exactly,
yeah.
Oh
my God, it's going to get cold.
It's going to get cold. The climate. What?
So what makes leaves turn brown in autumn?
Is it Greta Thunberg?
It could be.
They see her coming. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Anyone's turn brown.
That's scared the shit out of me.
Vile little cretin.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah,
I know she's paid to come out for so much shit.
Oh.
Anyway, so an increase. So number A. An increase in moisture.
Yes.
Number B, a drop in temperature.
Yeah.
Or C, they don't turn brown.
You only went for 2 weeks, didn't you?
I did.
You did.
So, do we go through them again?
Go through them again.
Great. So, what makes leaves turn brown in autumn?
I got that.
Is it an increase in moisture?
Yeah.
Is it a drop in temperature? Or they don't turn brown?
They don't turn brown. I'll go for C. They don't turn brown.
Is the right answer.
Yeah,
do you know why they don't turn brown?
Haven't got a clue. I thought they were brown.
They are brown. That's the whole point. So all leaves are brown.
They're
brown
not green
and yellow. No, they only turn green because of chlorophyll. So when the sun comes out, the pigment of chlorophyll, makes them turn green.
Yeah.
And then when the sun now moves away, and come down to autumn, they don't have the UV. The chlorophyll stops forming, and they go back to their original color, which is brown. So leaves are originally brown.
That's
and brown.
actually an interesting thing. That's a bit of a trick question. That's a trick question. I didn't know that.
So there's only.
When I say I don't know general knowledge, what do you interpret from that?
You're thick,
exactly,
and stupid, and
yes, I do not know general knowledge,
which isn't true because actually you taught me more than I've taught me.
I don't think that. You knew way more than me, but yes.
No, but do you know?
No, I didn't know that. That's actually quite interesting.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Yeah, so it's only chlorophyll that makes them green, and then obviously when it goes, they go back to being brown again or yellow.
Yellow.
Okay, cool. So, you got that one right, didn't you?
I got that one right.
Yeah, so 4.
I got 4.
Okay, so the last one.
I can only get 5. I'm not going to win.
This is the last one. This is true.
You know, in a year's time, there's going to be like a stack of pens on the table from where I haven't won. He's just add a new pen each week.
We're going to be on super rollover, mate.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is the last one.
Okay.
To not win the pen. Or the kiwi.
No. But Karen anyway.
It's great for me. I'm chuffed to bits.
Yeah, I can see you're excited, aren't you? You get to keep your pens.
I'm worried about next week because I might have to give 3 away. But anyway, so last one. So true or false?
Yes.
True or false? So you've only got one. So I have 2 answers there, mate.
Yeah, I understand the concept of true or false. I'm not that dumb. I get the idea of true or false.
It's just that you've been struggling with 3 answers.
Yeah,
I've narrowed it down to 2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So anyway, true or false? If you put a frog in hot water, then gradually turn the heat up, the frog won't try and escape and will die. True. Is that true or false?
True.
Is incorrect. It's actually false.
Oh.
So
why does he know it's true? Because it's true.
Well,
or is that a lobster?
No. The answer's false. Because even though people say it, you put a frog in hot water and turn it up gradually, it won't jump out and die. It's actually a metaphor. It's not actually true. It's not actually true. And what it is people use that as a metaphor. So a repeated story that goes on over and over and over and over again, that if repeated, people believe.
Yes.
Like there's a big virus that we're going to catch, right? So if you keep telling somebody enough stuff, right, they'll believe it, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. It's actually a metaphor. It's not actually true. It's completely inaccurate.
Okay, that's good to know because I was worried about the frogs.
Yeah. So,
because that would be stupid, really. If it got hotter, that'd be like us, wouldn't it? If we suddenly turn the temperature in the bath, we wouldn't get out. I mean, because that's not possible. We do, don't we?
Yeah.
Because when I run a bath with my girlfriend, she's gone. That's fucking hot. She gets back out again. So I know that's not true. So no. Okay, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. So
okay, I have a question for you now.
Go on. What is a Chandelier pass?
No. So it's a riddle.
Go on then.
How's it go? Oh yeah. So on my way to St. Ives, a man with 7 wives. Each wife had 7 sacks. Each sack had 7 cats. Each cat had 7 kittens. Kittens, cats, sacks, wives. How many were going to St. Ives?
1.
Damn it! Seriously, why is this? I hate intelligent people. Don't you? Don't you hate smart people? I hate smart people. Go away. I don't like you. Go away.
Oh, sorry.
Go away. I'm not having it. I'm going to sulk.
You're sulking.
Hey?
Why are you sulking?
Because you got it right.
Well,
it was from Die Hard, by the way. That's where I saw that.
Oh, was it really?
I was watching. Yeah, it was Die Hard 3, I think. Die Hard with Vengeance.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And yes, it was. Yes.
Cool. You're gonna have to get the old book out, ain't you, to challenge me, mate?
Oh no, I'll just.
You're gonna have to just go to things that you just know. I don't know anything
I'll just
about.
ask him magic questions next time, and ice game ones. See how he gets on with it.
You might be presently surprised.
If you know the magic ones, I'll be very surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so would I actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Go on then. What's a Charlier pass?
What's a Charlier pass?
Yeah. I'll give you some options.
Yeah. Go give me. Yeah, okay.
I'll give you some options.
Yeah, go on then. You got three. You got
three options.
Yeah.
A Charlier pass is a secret concealment of a coin. It's a one-handed cut of the deck, or it's a move that you do with ropes in a cut and restored routine.
Oh, we got A, the hidden coin.
Nope.
No.
It's a one-handed cut of the deck.
Is it really?
It is. Yes.
One-handed cut?
One-handed cut of the deck.
So
it's called a Charlier pass.
Was that when you flick it around like that?
Yes, when you just do like you just cut the deck with one hand. I can't see in the room. I can't demonstrate. Yeah. It's just
I get it. I've seen it.
So one hand cut the deck. Okay. There's multiple ways to do it, but it's just a way to describe one hand cut the deck.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, yeah. So I didn't get that one right.
No. See. Okay, another one then. So what is in ice skating?
Mm-hmm.
What is a 3-turn? I'll give you some options. A 3-turn is the movement of the man around the woman in a dance if they're dancing.
Yeah.
It's a 3-turn is
I'm gonna say A.
You're gonna say no.
Yeah. You're trying to make up two answers now, aren't you?
No.
You tell me the answer and then you're gonna make up two.
A 3-turn is turning from backwards to forwards on 2 legs, or it's turning backwards and forwards on 1 leg.
A.
It's C.
Is it?
It's turning backwards and forwards on 1 leg.
Backwards and forwards on 1. How'd you do that?
Well, forwards to backwards. Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Well, it's a 3. You literally just.
Oh, you start pushing and then push back.
No. You're on 1 foot. You're skating on 1 foot, and you turn from.
Right. I need to go.
Forwards to backwards.
I need to do some skating revision, ladies and gentlemen, because obviously I need to polish up on that knowledge.
I feel better now. I feel vindicated.
Great. I'm really pleased for you.
I feel
specialist
good.
Subject. I might get you on the mastermind. Jonathan Shaw, your specialist subject is ice skating in Chelmsford.
I actually did. I did a competition. It was one Christmas around some friends, and there was this woman there who my friends had made friends with. She was stupid.
Yeah.
She actually worked for the radio. And we did this trivia game.
That explains a lot, doesn't it, really?
But she probably still on the radio. I don't know.
Information repeater.
She was more. So she had this trivia quiz, and one of the questions in the trivia quiz was, "What is the magician's handkerchief called?"
Handkerchief?
No, and or something like that. And in the quiz, it was a scarf or something, but actually, it's a silk.
Yeah,
it's a silk handkerchief.
Yes, I do.
Magic, silk, yeah. And it was actually wrong. And she wouldn't have it. I'm the fucking magician.
Yeah.
She was going by the trivia quiz.
Yeah, no,
I'm like, no.
But yeah, see, you must have known she works in media.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
She was obviously 100%
I was like,
right.
no, seriously, love. And she wouldn't have it.
Yeah, it was in real life. They give you misinformation.
Dearie me. She argued with me about it. I'm like, I'm the magician. What are you on about? How is the game going to know? So I was like, oh, no. So no. So
I bet you're great to play around with games, aren't you?
That's the only time I've ever read that. I was like, what are you arguing me for? I'm the one who would know.
Yeah, you would be.
What do you think? Why do you assume Trivial Pursuit is going to know?
Yeah.
Or whatever the game
was. Or whoever wrote the answers.
Or whoever wrote the answers.
You know, it might not be Trivial Pursuit. No. I don't really know that Trivial Pursuit.
Exactly. No. They can get things wrong.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway.
Okay, cool. So, well, let's wrap it. Got anything else to talk about?
No, I'm good.
You got your own little back. Got me on 1, 2. On a Charlier pass, and
you remember the name? That's good. It's quite.
Yeah. Now, mate, once it goes in, doesn't go away.
Doesn't go away. Brilliant.
Yeah. It's one hand cut of the deck.
I've heard that.
Yeah. It's a one hand cut of the deck.
That's what his doctor said.
Yeah.
So one hand cut of the deck.
I don't forget. Anyway, I can't remember.
No, you can't remember. Moving on. I think we should wrap up there. So anyway, yes. So, anything else to say?
Well, no, I was just going to say, I was actually going to do this week. I was actually going to do do a podcast on Jonathan's life. And actually, I've sort of, because Jonathan's got quite an interesting life, being a magician, going around and learning, what he's learned and what he's taught me and other people, and how many people he's healed and how he's come to the conclusion that I thought would be a really interesting topic, but he talked me out of it. So if you would like to hear a bit about Jonathan's life story, and let me I'll interview and ask you loads of questions, then let me know. If not, we'll come up with some other topic on pain, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, or let us know in the next episode in a fortnight's time. Because
if people
you're loving it up with your lover, aren't you, next Sunday? So
I'm loving up my lover.
You're loving it up with your lover.
Like a luscious lolly.
Like a luscious lover.
Yeah.
She's back from Portugal, isn't she?
She's back from Portugal, yeah. She's back on Thursday, hopefully. Yeah.
I enjoyed being a model.
You did enjoy being, yes. It was a model for my girlfriend. She desperately needed a model for her training, and me and Steve went up and we were beauty models.
Yeah.
Why she picked me and Steve, we've got no idea.
I can understand why she picked me.
Can you?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Oh, it's great.
I must need new glasses. So we was more. So that was quite good. So it was quite relaxing, wasn't it?
It was lovely. I felt when you were being treated, I went next door and fell asleep.
You did, that's right.
In the lounge. It's lovely.
Oh yeah,
lush. I also I've seen a couple of good movies actually. I watched that new Bond film about the vaccines and all that.
Oh, you said that was really good.
I was like, oh come on, you're telling. If people don't watch that and realise that's what's going on.
So if you want to know what's going on, go and watch
the Bond movie. Yeah.
Although I haven't seen it yet, so don't spoil it.
Yeah. Who are you talking to?
The camera.
Oh, I thought the camera's going to spoil it for you.
I don't want anyone messing with me going, that Bond film was great. It was all about this.
I've just told you what it's about.
No, but you haven't told me. Don't tell me.
I won't. And also I went to see The Eternals on Friday with.
Is that good? That's what you went to see.
Yeah, The Eternals.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's good. The ending was a bit sharp though. It could have been a lot better. It was actually really good. I liked the story. I thought it was okay.
I'm looking forward to this.
It's not the greatest Marvel film I've seen, but no, it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the storyline to it.
I would love to know how all these movies have been made during COVID with all the restrictions. I would love to know that, because movies tend to take about a year to make.
Yeah.
So all these new movies are about to come out.
Yeah, but most of them are done on green screen now, aren't they? I mean, it's like all the stuff you see in the White House and Buckingham Palace. It's none of it's really live. It's all green screen stuff.
But you're not allowed to you weren't allowed to interact with anybody. You weren't allowed to go near anybody.
You don't need to.
You had to wear masks.
Now.
No, you had to wear masks.
Yeah, I know.
You had to wear masks and the social distance. Yeah. How were these movies made while everyone was locked down in their homes, social distancing? How did they make these movies? Yeah. Do you want to know how they made them? It's a fucking lie. That's how they made it.
Right, you happy with that, mate? Got it off your chest?
Yeah. And on that note, we'll say good night.
Yes, we'll say good night. No, it is, yeah. But no, I would like to just say that there's obviously a lot of green screen stuff that's done now. And, you've only got to watch the news.
This is green screen. I'm not really here.
Yeah.
No, this is
There's all green screen stuff now. All the stuff with Biden in interview in the White House, that's all done on green screens.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not. It's done next door. In the room, it's done in the room next door.
Oh, have you been there?
No,
you've been told?
No.
Your information repeated?
Yeah. No, we've been told by quite a bit. They did in the room next door because they can set up the monitor for for his auto cue. Oh, really? And they can't do that apparently in the Oval Room.
Okay. Well, I've heard that it's been done from a thing in Atlanta. So.
Oh, I heard it was also being done from Castle Rock is that Castle Rock? Is that was in Atlanta?
It's a Castle, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know where it is, Castle Rock. It's just a studio, isn't it? Where they film the West Wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I digress.
We digress.
Right.
So I had someone said that they'd love to hear about your story.
Oh, would they?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So we might do that next time.
If people want to hear about it, then leave a comment. If we get enough comments, then I may consider it.
Can't do mine one because it takes 4 episodes.
I was going to say, your one will be like... Steve's led a very interesting life. Well, when I say interesting, let me change that with traumatic.
Yeah.
Steve's led a traumatic life. I've led an interesting life.
Yeah, no, it would be interesting.
I don't see that. I mean, so this is the reason I talked him out of it, right? Just so you know, I personally don't believe people they want to know how to get better and heal. I don't think they're going to want to sit there and listen to some person interview somebody
that invented something that actually.
So I don't think that's what people want to know.
That makes people better and heal.
Yeah, but when I learn that, I only want to learn the bit that's going to work. I don't want to learn the whole story about the guy behind it, or the woman behind it, or the animal behind it, or the alien behind it, whoever it is. I don't want to get sexist or racist.
Yeah.
Don't write in going. He said, "Man, not woman. I can't believe it."
Or he, or they, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's my right as they to be called them.
So that's just why. I think we might lose our audience.
Yeah, I've already got it. Cheers now. Bye.
Yeah. But if you do want to know, then I'm more than happy to talk about myself. Everyone loves talking about themselves, and I'm no exception.
Yeah. I'll come up with some really good questions, and
as long as I can answer the questions.
Yeah.
So don't make them multiple about me.
I was going to say, when you growing up, were you a magician, B, a comedian?
Where were you born? Was it A, in your mother's womb, B?
Well, you can't be born in your mother's womb. You can be born from it.
I was born from mother's womb. Yeah. I was created in mother's womb. Well, I was. I was grown and born in the mother's womb.
So if you was born in
I didn't give birth in the womb, but I was born in the womb. I might really confuse you.
I might say, were you born A, from your mother's womb, B...
Mother's room? A, from my mother's room? I was born in a lounge. That's where I was born.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Okay, so were you born in A, your mother's womb, in a lounge, or in Rayleigh? And all three will be right. You'll go, all three are right.
It's on three.
Is the wrong answer.
Yeah. You can fact check that. I'll tell you. Fact check that one. Go and fact check it with my mum. See what she says. She watches sometimes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. So anyway, we might do that next time. If not, we'll come up with another.
Yes, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. Do you want to finish off then?
I already have. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the fireworks if it still continues, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah, great. So again, thank you for watching and putting up with John and his putting up with us as we always do on this Sunday night. And we hope you enjoyed the information and we pushed your boundaries of thought and understanding. So as it goes,
push my boundaries of thought and understanding.
Really. So like I said, thanks for joining us. If you want to contact John with regards to any pain or any injuries, and you need to work through that, John's obviously a genius at that. I say it every time he is. Then please contact him on the dtosystem.com. And if you, as well as like trauma or depression,
I do deal with all the trauma and everything as well.
Anxiety and all the rest of it, yeah. And that's the same with me. So if you have any behavioural problems, traumas, limiting beliefs, PTSD, anxieties, depressions, relationship problems, stuck, can't move forward, having problems in your business, I can come and see me. I can just switch all that off and it will just happen for you. And you can contact me on healingthemind.co.uk. But other than that, we can also find us on our YouTube channel for all the back issues and on Apple Podcast and Spotify and all the rest of that. So you can find us there. So thanks for watching, and we really appreciate you joining us on a Sunday night, giving up your time when you could be watching the news. And so on that note, we'll see you in a fortnight's time. It's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Ciao, everyone. Bye.
Good night.